Therapist Live. This is April the 30th, and we have a guy with us. Mr. Jacob Hoyle is hanging out with us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Happy to be here.
All right, now, I'm gonna relay the idea on YouTube Live here that you're my personal trainer, and I don't want anybody giving me any email. I don't want anybody giving me any posts or any kind of craziness about my body type being a pear. Okay, you're working with it, right?
That's right.
No, that's good for your heart.
Is it good for the heart?
Yeah, to have a pear shape as opposed to an apple shape.
I don't know if he's being serious.
Waist
now,
to
Jake, or
hip
not.
circumference. There's a little data that supports that.
Yeah.
But you're a work in progress, is what I would tell people. We're working on it.
So if you're finding us for the first time on YouTube Live, we fire up at about 6:15, 6:30. We're a little bit later today, but we will turn the mics on for Spotify and Apple Podcasts and whatnot. So we get to hang out here in a little bit before we do that. And this is a great place, the YouTube Lives, to give us comments, give us updates, give us your thoughts. We incorporate it into the show. We're talking about men's health today. So that is a super important topic that is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. Passionate about it.
Yeah,
Lots to unpack.
It really is. We could do four of these, I think. But I didn't even say. Of course, Mr. Pope's hanging out with us.
It's
We all know
nice
you.
to be here. And still be here.
It's nice to still be here as opposed to the alternative.
That's right.
That's right.
All right, Neil, we can fire up any minute.
Go, 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 go.
Ready when you are. You done?
Yep.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, this is Through a Therapist's Eyes on April the 30th, and we are going to be talking about men's health today. So we're going to be doing that with an expert. Mr. Jacob Hoyle is joining us. How are you, sir?
Doing great. Happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. I'm going to tell you about this guy here in a second. We also still have the ever-faithful Mr. John Pope hanging.
It's really wonderful to be here as well.
Sometimes your voice tone in the beginning of that is kind of like... Sometimes, like, if you're tired, you're just like, it's good to be here.
Yes, it is.
So this is Through a Therapist's Eyes, where you get insights typically from a panel of therapists in your home or personal time in your car, but knowing is not delivery of therapy services in any way. The three questions I want you to think about during the show today that we're going with is, what does men's health mean to you personally? What challenges, secondly, have you faced in maintaining your physical and mental well-being? And then 3, how do you define success in your health journey, which is, I think, an interesting question. So subscribe, click. We try to give you some good content to disseminate information about mental health and substance abuse, entertain you for a minute or two, and blow up stereotypes and myths. So your part is to subscribe, click. As the Southern folks say, John, mash the button.
Mash the button.
Mash it.
Don't mash
I don't
it.
mash buttons. I push them. But you want some stars.
That's right. I want 5 stars. And I would like comments as well for us, and positive comments, of course.
Comments positive.
Right.
Let's specify.
Right.
Seriously, it is your job. If you enjoy our show, that helps us out a lot. This is the human emotional experience, which we do endeavor to figure out together. Mr. Jacob Hoyle, listen to this dude, John. He is a transformational certified, I added the word transformation.
I appreciate that, man.
Jacob Hoyle is a transformational certified personal trainer and health coach, and he founded the FitView Wellness based in little old Lowell. Is that how they say it?
Yeah,
now?
if you're throwing the Southern twang in there, you got it. It sounds like Lowell with an A, but it's Lowell.
Lowell.
Wow, I couldn't have done that at
Lowell,
all.
or
How do you
Lowell.
pronounce Lowell?
Lowell.
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 Yeah.
Lowell. All right.
Lowell.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll just say from the Charlotte area in North Carolina. He's over 15 years experience. He's assisted thousands nationally and hundreds locally in achieving their health goals through customized training and nutrition programs. Jake, how do they find you with FitView? I want to get that out in the front end to make sure, because honestly, I'm going to give you a personal compliment. I will out myself and tell you that he is my personal trainer. He is working with I don't know, what should I say, man? A project in myself.
Yep.
But he is really, truly super excellent at what he does. I have high respect, high praise, absolutely honored and privileged to work with him personally for myself. So you too can experience Jacob Hoyle. Where do they do that, Jacob?
Appreciate that, man. Well, the easiest way to find us is on Google, fitviewwellness.com. We have 2 sites, actually. We have a Google site for corporate wellness, so we work with a lot of corporations as well who are interested in helping to get their work staff healthy and on the right path to wellness. And then you can, if you want to become a personal training client or wellness client of ours in the house, you can go directly to our website. That's the easiest way to find us. And we've been really blessed locally, word of mouth. I mean, we've trained so many people here. When I first started, I wasn't FitView Wellness. I was Busy Bodies Mobile Fitness.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Back in 2009.
Nice.
I went around literally operating out of the trunk of my car, just trying to make a name for myself. And then I rebranded. We became FitView later of 2009. But ever since then, man, I've been living my dream, helping change lives, helping
So
people
you've
get
been
healthy.
around for 16 years.
Yes, sir.
That's an accomplishment.
Yeah,
Outstanding.
literally right after high school I started.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Full bore into this stuff, man.
Yeah.
John, he enjoys working out.
Yeah. I work out.
John's a workout maniac, man.
I love it, man. You got to come out of that studio.
Dude,
Okay,
get
all
one
right.
in.
Do you do like silver sneakers?
We do. We do
Yes.
actually. Listen, man, we train clients, literally high school level athletes, all the way to people having total hip replacement.
Okay.
And I say that with a lot of experience, but also like it's really fun to watch because you go in there and you see multitude of clients, just different demographics, people at low level fitness, people that are D1 level athletes. I mean, there's not a whole lot that we can't handle. And I say that with a great sense of pride.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
No, it's such an honor and a privilege to work with people in the way that we do, whether you're talking about a therapy service or, a personalized experience with training and, nutritional therapy. I've been turned on to. You do a lot of that too with the coaching, I know.
Yeah.
It really is crazy and what an honor to work with people and see you got to see amazing transformations.
Yeah.
Well, I was on the website and I've seen these guys and they had lost quite a bit of weight and toned up, muscled up.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, man, because usually the number one thing we hear is, I don't want to get buff. I don't want to be this big guy. And like, we never, as coaches, go in with the intention of turning you into that, right?
Right.
Our goal is, our niche client, and people say, well, what's your niche client? It's actually a lot of what we're going to talk about today, and it's the middle-aged man or woman. But they went through that life
He's calling me
cycle.
middle-aged, John.
So-
you notice that?
So in other words, you help them become cut or
Yeah,
more cut,
we help
as
them-
opposed
yeah.
to being like muscle bound.
Wait,
Right.
I can put
Yeah.
this word in because he's told me this about 20,000 times. It's functional fitness,
There you
John.
go.
Right?
I like that.
Did I get that right?
You did. You hit the nail on the head. The goal is always like vitality, level of wellness first, and those other things, the aesthetics. I mean, that's just the cherry on top. But what you notice is when we kind of shift gears with people like, hey, I've turned this into a lifestyle, which is our number one goal. It's very rarely with that niche clientele, they're coming in thinking, I want to look a certain way. It's, hey, man, I got time for myself again. I've done this for X amount of years. I'm ready to give back to myself, or I've had a health scare, something like that. And then they turn the switch, and then all those positive changes happen, and you see their body transform, and then that's when the confidence happens.
Well, I'll tell you, I love this quote. It's an amazing quote, and it fits with this in that a friend of mine made this statement. You find out at 50 years old how well you took care of yourself at 30 years old.
True.
And I feel like that is profound.
Yeah.
And I think it's true. John, you could probably tell me for sure or not if it's true, but I think that you find out at 70 years old how you took care of yourself at 50.
Yep.
All right?
Exactly.
I
think
screwed
it's-
the first one up. I'm trying good for the second one.
I think you're going to do outstanding.
I'm trying.
Okay.
But that is a big deal, Jake.
It
I
is.
would think, right?
Yeah. I mean, what you do in your earlier years does tend to show up, especially in the 20s, 30s, shows up in your 40s. We see it all the time. That nagging shoulder injury or, that high cholesterol, high blood pressure, it didn't just happen overnight.
Yeah.
It happened a couple decades prior.
And I'll tell you how powerful it is, and I'll just comment about this insofar as just health in general. I was really surprised. You made a comment one day. Jake doesn't know this, Neil, but he made a comment. He said, I have strong legs. He did. He said it, John. I'm telling you. It's true.
You have strong legs.
Yeah, man.
That's
Well,
excellent. That's your second heart.
But here's
Yeah.
here's the thing. Why? When I was a kid, not as an adult. Well, actually, I can't say that. I'm going to say up until I was really into raising kids when I entered into the lost decade. Dude, I rode my bike hard. I mean, I was always into my bike, and I mean,
Muscle memory.
I'm in Wheeling, West Virginia now. I'm telling you what, was a kid, and them hills is
Up
real
and
hills.
down.
They ain't playing up there. And so, but I hadn't done it from like, I don't know, 30 till now, I guess, right?
But the thing I've noticed with Chris is, if we do like an isolation exercise, a leg press or a leg extension, like you notice it starts to burn pretty quick. I put him on the sled, he flies through it because he's so used. His baseline was really founded in functional movements. You were doing stuff like pedaling on a bike, locomotion. That muscle's been there. It's been trained. It's just we trained it in a different way.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, so it was really, the strengths and weaknesses that we see. I always tell a client, I give them what's called a SWOT, just like you would in business: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. What are your strengths? We don't touch a lot on that, but like most of the time when you're working with me one-on-one, I'm doing the things that you hate and that make you hate me. But it's like we'll touch on it. But if I see, hey, this isn't a really area of concern for me as a coach, then we're going to prioritize the training around the things where he's struggling. He or just people in general.
And being as sedentary as I am with a a job that I sit a lot at, I mean, I'm sure that he's picked that out and he's crushing my core and killing my arms, and I'm barely driving home some days.
Yeah.
Because that's what it needs, right?
Right.
So I think that's a thing in working with a trainer, someone like Jake, and you have people on staff, you have multiple people, so we can serve a lot.
Great team, man.
And they pick up on all that. That's what's amazing about it. You could do your own thing, but I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, man. And, just to give kudos to my staff, and hopefully they'll watch this at one point, man, we have the A team. Love them to death. I couldn't ask. Just godsend clinicians that are working with us, man. Jay and Tori and everyone that's there to help make what we do possible. But I wanted to, when I created FitView and I had this vision, I wanted to provide a space where trainers can train within their own style. We have the same core values and we have the same mission, but our path to get there might be a little different. Everyone has their own style, and I never wanted to disrupt that. I never wanted to micromanage that.
Oh yeah.
But we do feed off of one another. We have like the
I can see
prerequisite
how you
stuff.
two work well together.
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
Because that's his style.
Yeah, yeah.
So in terms
it's great.
of therapy approaches.
Yeah.
Interesting
So
observation,
encourages
John.
him, yeah.
And I think that's a compliment, Jake, right?
I love
That's a
I took it as a
compliment. It's a
compliment.
compliment.
Yeah, I took it as a compliment. I didn't think it was a slight.
Absolutely.
That's great. I mean, but
Yeah.
it's important to let people be who they are, because I've worked in other places. Prior to FitView, I was an assistant director of wellness at a well-known medical institution. I don't want to throw shade on them because I am grateful for the experience I had there.
Absolutely.
However, a lot of red tape. And it showed me a lot of the things on the quote unquote corporate side that I didn't like. It really fueled me wanting to be an entrepreneur because I was like, hey, if I have a chance, and one day I will have that chance to do it differently, I will. And we have.
Love that.
So
That's powerful. All right, so we're going to be talking about men's health today in a general sense, but we're also, the genesis of this particular episode was...
It must have been a misunderstanding.
No, is that a song?
It must have been a misunderstanding.
Jake, he pops songs out like...
Yeah.
I'm digging it, man.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this dude just leaks positivity, man.
He's amazing.
We need to get you over to the studio.
Okay.
John is the beast. He would kill your stair stepper. I think he'd burn it out.
Dude,
I think he'd kill it.
I love it. Welcome
So
anytime.
listen, we're going to be talking about men's health general, but the genesis of this show really was when I'm so humbly honored to have been approached by yourself, Jake, who has an idea for a men's conference coming up, and so we're talking about general men's health, but the day conference that we're going to do is, dude, I'm super stoked about this.
Yeah, me too.
June 21st, we're going to do a seminar, and the power behind the event is really working with a whole group of people, men specifically, that, let's face it, we tend to very much neglect a lot of parts of ourselves with all the things that we're doing, in our daily lives and in our family life and all that kind of thing. So
Right.
we'll get back to it towards the end, but give us a brief rundown on what your vision is, what the thing is.
Yeah.
Do we even have a name?
So right now, we're gonna. My hope and prayer is that we launch this as a men's all-inclusive health seminar. Mouthful, but really the genesis of this idea started before COVID. I ran a men's group out of my studio called Iron Men, where men would come together. We trained a lot of ladies and these guys' wives, and it's like, they'd see the scriptures and stuff. I have it all over my walls, like Philippians 4:13 or Jeremiah 29:11. And like, we would love, I can't get my husband to go to church. I can't get my husband to do that. But as iron sharpens iron, one man shall sharpen another. Guys are really motivated to go and work out or be with other guys in a facility. So we realized let's bring it here. And what we started to realize is that, man, these guys are really motivated, not just to come work out, but just searching for a sense of brotherhood, looking for an opportunity to come around men who are actually going through some of the same stuff they are. And with my line of work, and you and I have talked about this, there's a lot of parallels. You figure out what motivates men and why they're wanting to do something. Some people are working out, chasing that endorphin because they're dealing with, man, my check's going to bounce. I'm running out of money before I do the month. I'm running out of opportunities to provide for my family, or I have all this external stress. My marriage is bad, whatever it is. But you find out that through bringing them together and suffering together through an exercise,
That's a word.
you know, it's
Suffering.
they come together, man. You learn how to rebuild.
So it sounds a little bit like when I was in the Navy, the boot camp experience,
Oh,
which
boy, yeah.
actually kind of binds you together, and you have that experience. And
Yep.
I'm still in touch with them 40 years later.
Yeah.
with those folks.
Man, some of the best friendships, longest lasting friendships I've had in my whole life were gym partners. Just guys that got to know you more than just your love for exercise, but know you on that connection on an intimate level. Like know you, know what drives you, what is your why, things that you went through, obstacles you had to overcome. You learn a lot about somebody when you push them physically.
You know, I think that this was your comment, Jake, where you were kind of, maybe this is part of the genesis of the conference and whatnot as well, that there's an urgency here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not just nothing. There's a lot going on in our lives and in the world today and whatnot, and especially, you know, I carry a lens, but especially I agreed with your comment, mental health, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, in this crisis, there's proactive steps that you could take. There's things that you can do. There's engagement, empowerment. You can take agency over your life with your cholesterol when you're fired up or upset with the doctor's reports, or your whatever A1C is, John, right?
Right.
But in the mental space, how do you see the crisis?
I think it's bad. And the reason I say that is if you look at the stats and you look at, and with you guys being clinicians, you look at how much higher and more prevalent the suicide rate is for men as opposed to our female counterparts.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
a big gap.
Absolutely.
In the military, especially,
It's
right,
a
John?
big gap.
In the military, right? Especially if they are no longer in the military and they've been mustered out or they've gotten out and they have a hard time readjusting and they don't have purpose. And and they can't be a man, I
Right.
think.
Yeah, and that's, I'll use myself, I'm an open book, but when COVID hit, drastically changed the landscape of what we were doing.
Oh,
The first
a
round-
gym?
Yeah.
How would a COVID change a gym, Jake?
So, you want to make a man feel like less of a man.
Yeah.
Take away his ability to provide for his family. A man that's worth his salt, Take away his ability to provide for his family. Take away the thing that he's passionate about in work. And many men find passion in what they do. If you love what you do, you want to be there. You take that away from that person, and now, man, I can't provide. I'm not showing up. I feel like I'm failing my clients because I can't do this. I can't have that one-on-one connection with them like we
Right.
did. So it was a whole new thing,
Right.
So
Since high school.
yeah, since high school. It's a
You'd been
big part of
doing
who
that.
I am. And Iron Men formed when we got the green light to reopen. I'm like, I need to bring these men together because
Right.
I'm not just going through this by myself. Like, I know these guys are also dealing with this. And Iron Man was such a great thing, and
Love that.
Yeah.
And I want to highlight in that moment, and I don't think it's really a gender thing, but it's a
Sure.
dangerous thing in the reality that particularly we experienced in COVID, kind of a key phrase, if you will, when you're isolated, you are screwed.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
Bottom line.
Right.
It's
Need
a
connection.
horrible place to be. The socialization, the connection with other people, it is a basic fundamental mental health must.
And I see a lot of our younger males that are grappling with that because all they learned during COVID is just to look at their tablets or their
Oh, yeah.
or screen time on their phones.
We learned how bad a school at home alone is.
Yeah, you don't.
You should
That's-
see on the YouTube live, if you're listening to this on the audio only, you need to see Jake's face when I said that. Just saying.
I would see
Right.
it, man. We
And,
see
and
it.
so I think that is incumbent upon us to be able to help young boys grow into men and to be able to
Yeah.
take their roles seriously.
Well, scientifically, they've done all
Be
this
careful, Jake,
meta
because when he goes this way, John, and
Yeah.
he goes like he loses me. He's so smart. He's so intelligent. I'm like, whoa.
hormonal transfer. If you have a high performer and you sit beside that high performer, the chances of you wanting to get motivated, it happens naturally. Oh, yeah. It's a phenomenon. They haven't been able to explain exactly why that is, but it's just like you get a bunch of like-minded people together. Like
It's like
hopefully-
mirror neurons.
Ah, you stole
Yeah,
my thunder.
yeah.
Take it, John.
Yeah.
Go with it, buddy.
No, mirror neurons. It's the idea that you mirror what that other person is projecting,
Right.
and that's one of the areas in terms of therapy. So you're talking about the same thing, only not just, let's say, social cues
Yeah.
or visual cues or even nonverbal. You're talking about physical cues.
Yep.
Being able to, and that you will strive. It's like working out with somebody and you work harder because that other person's working
they'd
hard.
push you.
They push
Yeah,
you.
I think it's John and I are oftentimes on lockstep. I don't know what it is, lockstep. I was thinking the same thing, John. That's like a physical reality that in neurology we're going to be learning about. I don't really know what mirror neurons are, what that is. Super fascinating. But Jake, that's a little bit of why, honestly,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's nature, man. And in the animal kingdom, you get like-minded things together. There's that competition. Sometimes competition's a good thing. You get young guys that we train. You have one guy come in, maybe he's coming from a bad circumstance. He comes in the gym. He's kind of down on himself. But you get a couple of the other guys in there that are a little older, maybe a little bit wiser, have had experience, and they just welcome him into the pack and say, hey, jump in on a set with us. He lights up, and he's a completely different person. And it's fun to watch.
Turns
that.
him around.
Turns him around. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we have a lot to get to, and we're going to definitely tell you more about the conference that's coming up. Jake, when?
June 21st.
June 21st. John?
That's June 21st.
June 21st. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
that's the first day of summer.
It's also the day
is.
after the 20th. But anyway.
The 23rd.
Is it the first day of summer?
I think so.
Yeah.
Did you choose that on purpose?
It is. I didn't. Honestly, I didn't. It was
Oh, wow.
because I was navigating through Father's Day because that's the weekend prior.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
So-
I love that. I didn't know that.
The likelihood of attendance for that weekend wouldn't be great.
Oh, no.
So
Yeah.
let's push it back a week.
Yeah. I'll be hanging out with my kids with the chicken kebabs on the grill and whatever else you do on Father's Day. So listen, let's get to some of the things in a general way about first of all, holistic approach. I mean, that's a word that's used regularly. And I know that you have a comprehension to what you do. It is not, I mean, I feel like when I'm working with you, your head's going in 1,000 miles a minute, even when I'm rambling on about nonsense.
I can hang. It's all good.
What's that?
I said I can hang. It's all
Yeah,
good.
I know you
Yeah.
can. And so, but this word, what do we mean really in the physical training world about truly being, I know your passion, holistic?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that are happening now in the wellness industry, which I'm sure you're probably aware of. There's a quick fix, and I don't mean that as a knock, but a lot of people are looking at, okay, I'm going to jump on a weight loss drug, or I'm going to jump on something that's going to expedite the process. When really, if you take someone who's generally healthy, they just have external factors that motivated them to come in, and we show them, okay, well, let's exercise. That's going to help your body produce these endorphins. You're going to feel better over time, and let's clean up what you're fueling your body with. So holistically, those are two things that we can just navigate for that person without having to use a medication, without having to jump on a prescription, all of those things. Again, I'm not against them. I think they serve a purpose. I think that there is a proper time to be assessed with that and implement it if necessary. But by taking actual exercise and cleaning up someone's nutrition, just getting them on a whole food diet, for example,
Which
we
is
could
a simple change.
a simple change, simple
Let-
changes.
So less processed foods.
Less processed foods.
Right.
You know, for example, we got a food line over here. I'm going to have you fill up your grocery cart with things that are on the perimeter aisles.
I do that now. I
Think-
try to do that.
Things that are, that's one of the most basic
I
things.
avoid the inner
Really?
lanes. I do,
Yeah.
John. Yes.
I do too.
Yeah. I mean, you got to go in there for
I go
you
get
know,
the tomatoes and I get the
ketchup.
lettuce
You
and
got to go in there
bananas
for
and-
oats and
Well,
stuff.
so
but, you know.
we've had this conversation too, you know, just touching on nutrition for a moment. You know, the foods that you eat have a major impact on how you feel. And nutrition is a multifaceted rabbit hole that is extremely easy to get lost in. I'm a sports nutritionist. So there's a rhyme and a method to that versus regular dietetics and then holistic nutritionist. All of these things are completely different. A lot of people get confused with that.
Really? Yeah.
We all wear different hats. Mine's rooted in performance and how to fuel for sports and body composition, et cetera.
Okay.
So-
and you do this age appropriately.
Correct.
For example, I have a colleague who's a little bit younger than I. He used to do the Ironman and that sort of thing, and he went to a vegan diet, and he doesn't eat. He's not a carnivore anymore, but he's gained weight, and he still exercises, and it's because he's in his 60s. And so can you help him?
Oh, absolutely. And the root cause of that, he's probably got some, trace carbohydrates in there, if it's
he likes the carbs.
Yeah. So if he's doing Ironman, he needs them. But not to get too far off context, the thing is you have to understand individually when the person comes in. If I always ask them a simple question, Mrs. Jones, if you were to rate your knowledge on nutrition 1 to 10, 10 being you have a degree in it, 1 you know nothing at all, you can explain to me what macronutrients are, proteins, carbs, fats, their functions in the body. If you score yourself 5 or below, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of calorie counting, macronutrient equivalents, because what will happen is
I'll leave.
Yeah, you're going to walk out more pissed off and frustrated than when you
Yeah.
walked in, right? Young Jake, in my early practice, I learned that valuable lesson. I'm like, man, I'm losing people. They feel like this is too
overwhelming.
much. It's overwhelming. And
really is.
you throw that on a busy parent who is our niche clients.
I can't handle it.
They're going to walk out
Yeah,
like, I can't
absolutely.
do this.
It's too much.
So you have to read the room. You have to understand where they're at. What is their life? That's why that consultation is so long, because we want to know you. We want to build that rapport with you. Like, what motivates you? Where do you actually have time? What are your stressors? Let's build that plan around that. And that's what we've been really successful at doing.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. What are some common challenges? Let's switch off to a little segment on common challenges that men have. And I think I said this earlier. I think the mics were on. I tend to avoid, in my work, at least in therapy, generalizing things to a specific gender. I really feel like, human beings are really similar, and we struggle with all of the same things.
I agree with that.
Many of the things that we're talking about today with men, it affects women as well. But there are some specifics about men. And you touched on it just a little bit ago, but let's nail down a little bit on. John, I'm curious about you first in therapy. And then we'll kick over to you, Jake, see how you feel. Like, do you follow that? Do you see the specific challenges of men? What would you say they are? And then,
I think purpose, but you can find that in women too. But there's a sense of how to be a responsible spouse, partner, parent. That goes on. But challenges in terms of I sense a culture that has devalued manliness, and I'm unabashed about saying that. I'm a quiche eater, but I really think that we've lost that idea of male identity, masculinity,
Yeah. Right.
and kids in school, and I hear this with my younger clients, is that they don't feel appreciated or valued. And they're not getting it necessarily from home. They're often in homes where there's just a single parent, and that they need mentors. And it used to be Boy Scouts and Boys Club, which I belonged to both of them.
Yeah.
And in baseball, I played.
Yeah.
I know
sports.
Jake's going to mostly agree with you. Jake, follow up with him, and
Yeah,
you got
I
to
mean,
use the word savage. You
he
have to
hit,
here.
Yeah, he hit a lot of hit the nail on the head for a lot of respect to what he just said, because I do agree with all of that. But also, you have to look at, there's this whole phrase, toxic masculinity.
That's a
been
phrase.
going around for a while, or for a better part of 5 years now.
Again, devaluing males.
Devaluing males. So for example, I have 2 male children. I've helped to raise 3 nieces, but I have 2 male children of my own. I don't want them growing up in a world that's, hey, men suck, men are awful, men are this, men are that. Depending on media, and again, I'm not trying to be biased here, but depending on what you're getting your news from or what you're listening to, you hear a lot of that. You have been hearing a lot of that. So you have these 2 young men that you're wanting to raise and bring up in the world the right way. And they're like, well, they're saying men suck, men are terrible, men are this, men are that. No, it's not true. And having those resources available for men to come together and become a part of something, say, hey, no, we're setting a standard. Men are good. We can be good. We can be great. Here's
Loving,
how you do it.
strong.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I did a question, and that is a medication of boys, overly medicating them. There is ADHD. It's a real thing. There's a genetic component to it. There's also some perhaps environmental aspects to it. But boys are wired differently. They're physiologically different. And what is considered now apparent is actually just normal. What is part of what it means to be a male.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I think we need, and that's why it's important to have sports, and I think that's why it's important to have training.
Yeah. Well, even like the school system, right? It's designed for them to be sitting still for so long. Little boys need to be out and
Why are we
active and
taking
physical.
physical education out? Come
Right.
on.
It's amazing.
I had phys ed
PS.
every year I was in high school.
That was my favorite class.
And
Oh,
even
high school.
in college.
High school?
High school. I had to dress out.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I did too.
We
Wait a minute,
played
I'm forgetting.
soccer and we
Yeah.
played baseball, softball, just bombardment.
Oh, yeah. And not to get,
Bombardment.
I'd have these
Yeah.
big old round.
absolutely. Not even to make it political, but if you go back and look at John F. Kennedy's presidency, there's a documentary called the La Sierra High School Project. And
Okay.
that is a very
Never
cool
heard
thing.
of that.
So what he did is he really said it. So we were at the Cuban Missile Crisis and all this stuff.
Okay.
If push come to
Back
shove,
to the
the
Cold
whole
War
point
era
of
and
that
everything.
was we needed to build up strong men to be able to go to battle, right?
Oh, wow, okay.
So the physical ed
Makes
for that
sense.
training in the high schools was like paramilitary training.
Really?
You go watch the video on YouTube. It's like
When I
it's
was in
amazing.
college, and I'm older than anybody in here, and we had the Air Force training, fitness training.
Yeah.
And when I was in college, and we were required to take it, and so we had to be fit.
Yeah. It's a La Sierra High School project.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
interesting.
But
It's-
that's still
yeah.
the President's Council on physical
exercise.
on
Yeah.
If you
exercise,
think about it,
physical
I'm sure you
fitness.
won't. Don't worry about it. But
Yeah.
if you get a link to that, I'd love to see
Yeah,
a link to
yeah, I'll
that.
forward it to
I'll
you.
put it on the show.
Yeah.
No, that'd be kind of.
But
cool
you
to
look
check
at that, like if you didn't know what that was, you just watched the clip of it, like, oh, this is military training. That was a high school, dude.
That was a high school.
It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna blow your brain
Yeah.
away and ask you like 4 questions at once, Jake. See how you do with this because I'm curious about barriers. I'm thinking about like the challenge that people have to committing to something like
Yeah.
nutritional counseling or the health in the gym or this type of thing. Like, so I'm curious about what you see as primary struggles with people, generally speaking. I'm curious about the length of stay, like how long people stick around, or if you get
Yeah.
like small in and outs from people. How you go about making decisions with individual considerations as to that point, in how they're operating and what your procedures are. I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah. So kind of on that first question, I believe you asked, what are the barriers? And this isn't gender specific, but this is like the general client. It's time and time management. Because as moms and dads, primarily who we see our niche client, they're looking at, it's the mom guilt or the dad guilt. How can I do something for myself when I have all these other things going on? How can I commit that time? And really, my job as a good coach is to shift the paradigm a little bit
Time.
and say, time being I would say is the biggest one.
That's interesting.
But it's like, we see this within the church. We see this with mom and dads a lot. How much is self-sacrificing detrimental? It's okay to put yourself first in certain things. I've mentioned this in our session before. I used to be that guy. I was so concerned about moving the business forward, doing this, making sure the family's taken care of in all aspects. But now I'm gaining weight. I don't look like a trainer anymore. I'm tired. I'm fatigued. I'm irritable. So when they get me at the end of the day, they get the worst version of me.
Right.
However, if I make it non-negotiable and I call it a meeting with the boss, that's my workout time.
Okay.
I can't miss it. It's a non-negotiable. But now they get the energetic, in shape, strong, healthy version of dad that they deserve.
Love that.
So it's about making yourself a priority, but you're trying to unwind a belief system that no, I'm supposed to put others before self so much, right? It's a conflict, but trying to convince people to believe that's a little bit of a challenge. But once we get them there, it's great.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that they're part of this, in someone to enter into this journey is that they learn how to balance their lives, even if there's these pressures on them.
Correct.
And do that. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. Time management and giving them the okay to treat themselves with kindness. Like, you deserve this. You need to do this. You have to, if you
Can
want
I
to show
change
up.
the word okay?
Yeah.
I want to change the word to emotional permission.
Give yourself permission.
Right.
Yeah. Give yourself permission. Because if you do that, you're going to show up and you're going to be so much better in those other areas.
So you're giving them grace. You're giving yourself grace.
Grace is another
Yeah.
good word.
Good
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
You know, because there's so much pressure that we have, and I know. I mean, I'm in touch with that a lot too because I work a lot. I mean, in order to podcast, to write books. I didn't mention my book, John. I got books out, right?
That's right. He's got 2 books out right now, and through a therapist's eyes. And what is it about marriage?
He wants me to say it 7 times in the show, John.
The plug meister. I love it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's such a powerful commitment that you have towards
Yeah.
providing for your family, doing all of these things. The pressure is intense, and unless you give yourself that grace, that emotional permission to engage you. Look, a standard mental health reality is God at the top of the list as your priority. John, you kind of taught me that if it's not God, it's a power greater than yourself or a concern or
Right.
cause greater than yourself. Fine, God is first. Then you're top of the list, baby.
Yeah.
Not bottom of the list. You're top there.
Yeah,
God, self, spouse, then your children, then your family, then your friends, and then your work. And if you're a long-time listener to the show, you dang sure heard that before. But we don't honor that, Jake.
Right. Well, again, not being gender specific here, but hey, I'm running out of money before I do month. Hey, Jimmy needs new shoes by this time next week. Hey, I have to sign up, sir, today. I got to run them here. All these things are happening. So back to the pressure. So many guys that I work with, and ladies too, but it's that pressure that's unwavering, nonstop. I have to do all these things, and they convince themselves, I have all this going on. I can't make time for me.
Right.
So we're like, hey, you can. Let's show you how, even if it's 20 minutes a day.
Perfect transition. What are some of the strategies? What are some of the things you just mentioned? Just a 20-minute commitment. That's all 20 minutes.
Yeah, change what it looks like.
What are some of the things that you have found successful that helps people get over that hump, or helps make some sustainability, helps them to come back and not just do 3 sessions? And by the way, I'm curious how long people typically
So
stay.
one of the best strategies I've ever done is I use a quote that I used out of Tom Ziegler's book, Choose to Win. Great book. If you haven't read it, it's an amazing book. But it's all about lifestyle, habits, and coaching. And I asked the guy, when I hear all these things, the why I can't, never could at the end of the day, right?
Right.
So I'll say to them, and this is a bizarre question to ask, but when you think of natural disasters, what do you think creates the most damage? Most people are going to say hurricane, tornado,
Wind,
things like that,
rain.
wildfires.
Yeah.
What if I told you it's termites?
Really?
These little tiny microscopic almost creatures take little bites every single day, and they create billions of dollars of damage fiscally. So they're very productive.
Wow.
So I tell them to be a termite. It sounds silly, right?
And
Take a little bite every day.
And the outside might look perfectly good, but the inside's rotten to the core.
Right.
Right.
But take little bites every day. But if you do that over time, you've created a big impact.
Because by the time you're 50, you'll find out how you took little bites or didn't take little bites out of your health for the benefit at 30.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. So taking those little bites daily, and it doesn't have to be anything drastic, right? It doesn't have to be anything like, hey, you got to commit to lifting weights 4 days a week, and you got to change everything in your diet. No.
Yeah.
Let's start with setting. How do you change a bad habit? You replace it with a good habit. You're sleeping in, or you're staying up till midnight every night. Can we push it to where you're getting in bed 30 minutes earlier? Or, hey, you don't like to exercise? That's okay. I'm here to coach you. Can we start doing a 10-minute walk every day after dinner so your blood sugar isn't through the roof when you go to bed?
Right. Small things.
Little things.
Steps.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I have some clients, and exercise of any sort's an anathema. And I said, you're going to feel better if you exercise.
Endorphins.
Endorphins, right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I've long held, look, the trifecta. I've told you, Jake, we need to get myself, Cirilla, and you. Cirilla's our registered dietitian at Metrolina here together to change the world, because that's the trifecta right there. if you ask
Exercise
me.
is nature's value. I mean, really think about it. You feel it's like you've heard runners say, "I got a runner's high." All right,
I don't understand that, but yeah.
I'm working on. He's a work in progress, everybody.
yeah, thank
He's
you.
a work in progress.
I had an out of body experience once when I ran.
Did you? You achieved
It
this
was
runner's
about
high
10,
thing?
10 miles. I did 10 miles once. And
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
So-
what was this out of body deal?
Well, I just went. It was such a good feeling. It was like I just felt like I was absolutely on top of the world, and I just had so much more energy.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
Yeah,
it's kind of transcended.
the endorphin dump, man, it's great.
But back to the points, I think of really helping to facilitate sustainability. Like that
Yeah.
feels like a big thing. I just want to nail down on that a little more because all that pressure and people feel like, oh my God, going to a gym, like I'm not a gym guy. I
Right.
don't want to do it. That sounds like a big major life change. Oh yeah, talk to the nutritionists. They're going to make me count calories and all this kind of stuff and tell me I can't have this and I can't have that.
Yeah.
And you have to do this and you have to do that. It's like, dude, it's God,
Yeah, I can only speak to our approach. What we've been successful at doing is getting to know the individual. That's a big reason why I say we're a studio, not a gym, right? To take away that stigma. So we like to really dial in with the individual and show them, like, okay, let's figure out what's going to work for you, because it is my belief that everybody, literally everybody, is different. And so we do stress, if there's one thing across the board that's similar, is getting them to a 90-day marker.
Okay.
Here's
Oh,
why.
Love that.
21 to 28 days to create a good habit.
This is science, guys.
60 days to see tangible results. 90 days to commit to the lifestyle.
You know why I know that? We have
You
90.
did
That also. No, because we have 90 and 90 is a phrase in Alcoholics Anonymous where they want you to go the first 90 days. We know is a major, major area of concern because a lot of
Right.
relapses happen. And it's all in the same domain. That's why I
Yeah,
said this is science,
same thing.
right?
Same thing. Most people are going to possibly default on their diet after 21 days. So our
Wow,
goal is to
yeah.
get them to that 3-week, 4-week mark. And if we could do that,
And
we
I
can
think
talk
I
to
think
them.
that's the other thing, isn't it? Is that is if you are doing, let's say, the diet, there's die in diet.
Yeah, it's a negative connotation. All
Yeah.
that.
There's die in diet.
I like
Yeah.
people. Well, I use the
D-I-E-T.
fighter jet or crop duster analogy. Do you want to be a fighter jet? We got to put fuel in this tank. We don't want you to float like a crop duster. We want to be a fighter jet. Be a fighter jet for your family, for your coworkers, for your spouse. All of these things. Like, show up and perform.
Now, there's two things you haven't responded to yet. I've asked you a couple times on the one. The first thing is, I told you, you have to use the word savage when you responded to John earlier. And secondly, I'm still wondering how long people tend to stick with you.
We usually see people with. I've got clients with me it's been with me for over a decade, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because there's
Is that average, though? I mean, that's what's
the average
typical.
client's going to stick around 6 months to a year.
6 months to a year. Okay.
Well, this is what we tell them. When you start to learn people in that consultation process, Mrs. Jones is an avatar, by the way. This is who I train my staff with. We have a little avatar that we train staff with, and we go through these scenarios. We do a lot of role play
Oh, okay.
because we want them to be equipped on how to answer and or pull one of the other team members in that's more equipped to handle it. But we'll ask Mrs. Jones, like, how long have you been unhappy? We ask a lot of comparison questions, like reflective questions. How long have you been unhappy with the way you feel? Oh, 5 years, or after my divorce, or after my son left the house, I
After
put on all this
pregnancy.
weight. Yeah. So you learn 5, 10, 15 years of this damage that's done.
Yeah.
So, and it's not a selling point, but it is a fact. We can
It's awareness.
tell you within 6 months to a year, if you can make that commitment, we can get you on that path. But it's going to take 6 months to a year.
With small steps.
Yeah. Be a
Because that's
termite.
plenty of time to take a lot of small
It
steps,
took
right?
Yeah.
you a long time to get where you were. It's
Correct.
going to take you a while to get where you would like
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah,
But I think the point, John, I'm trying to make, though, or needle in on is 6 months is not a long time.
No,
a
it's
year
not.
is not a long time.
It's not.
But it's a huge deal that makes a major
Well, if you
change.
see it all at once, it's going to be overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
if you take it, as they say in AA, one day at a time,
That's what they
one
say.
step at a
Right.
time.
Right.
So that's part of what I'm hearing is that there's a stereotype of trainers that are they're brutal. They're like
Yeah.
drill sergeants.
Militant.
Our job is to crush that the moment they walk in the door, because
Love
we
that.
get a lot of that.
Yeah.
Until they sit down and they talk to us. But here's the other thing we deal with. We deal with a society that is dealing with instant gratification. Instant
thing.
instant pot, Instagram, instant results. Ma'am or sir, this didn't happen in 30 days. It's going to take longer. So I want to drive that reality from the get-go. Like, and I don't BS them. I am very upfront, and I'm like, listen, plus there's the medical history side of that we have to approach ethically and with proper protocol, and make sure that we're putting certain systems in place, because there is a standard of protocols we have to follow if someone has like cardiovascular disease or cancer or things like that. There's a certain method to that.
So in your intake,
Yeah.
you include that. in
Correct.
terms- Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a mental health therapist when you're working with people in your gym?
So we just had this conversation, the parallel, right?
We did.
I'll have clients come in and man, I'm honored. I really am. I'm honored that, and I feel blessed to be able to, if they come in and say, Jake, I need a Dr. Phil day. And that's a funny thing we say, but it's like, hey,
Oh, yeah.
one of those external factors has got away from them, and that's what's motivating them that day. And they just need somebody, they need an outlet. And I keep it 100% confidential. But that's the thing that if that's what's going to help them and make them feel better that day, I've done my job.
Is that an ethical or a board-driven commitment, or just a Jake thing, the confidentiality?
It's a Jake thing, man.
Yeah.
Well, no, I apologize. No, that is
Coaches have to
it
have-
follows under HIPAA. You know, some of the things I'm credentialed
okay,
with, it's
yeah.
a HIPAA thing.
Gotcha. And that's your credentials,
Yeah.
your training.
Correct.
There's some formality, too, because, of course, with therapy,
Yeah.
we're loaded with that.
It's
This
a
is-
little bit of both. There's the legality part of it, there's the ethics part of it, and then there's the me just being a
There's a
decent human.
Yeah, right.
You know?
The pastoral side of that is the confidentiality. It's so
100%.
important.
Yeah, well, you're loaded
I'm
with that, too.
speaking very softly now.
We
I
get
knew
on
it was
him.
gonna
We got
happen.
on him, Jake, because
Yeah.
he disappears from the mic, and he sometimes
Yeah, you got to
gets
be the
soft on the
savage. I
shows.
finally
Yeah.
used it.
All right,
Yes,
tell me
he
what's
did.
the savage. What is the savage? The savage.
Yeah, follow up, man.
My spirit animal. What is it?
Man, he exuberates confidence. You know, that's savage to me.
Yeah.
Man. You know, positivity.
Yeah.
Somebody I'd sit
Do it,
down and
man.
have a cold beer with. You know?
Absolutely. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into the mental health realm, and like I said, the nutrition, the mental health, and the physical working out is something interesting. I don't mean this as a criticism at all, and it might be just missing it, because usually that's that's my kind of my outlet, my time, my personal time, brief stuff to work out, to do things.
Yeah.
But what I don't pick up on as much, probably just because of my personality and whatever, is just mindfulness techniques, mindfulness practice, soothing. You know, you go to a gym, you got rock music, you got amp up, you got all
Right.
of this. In that wholeness, in that wellness, I feel like the mental health concepts, how do I want to say that, can be, should be, or maybe are, or how do we work that into better the ideas of mindfulness?
Yeah, I know. I pick up what you're putting down there. And there's the whole noise aspect, right? Like,
Right,
how do you
yeah.
get into that zone where you can get rid of that? That's why I believe it's important, and I follow this to a T, to have a network of referrals, because we have certain aspects of wellness, yoga, Tai Chi, those types of things that may be better suited for somebody.
Okay. And
Or
you
somebody-
recognize that?
Yeah,
and
we
refer-
recognize that, and we give it, or we say, hey, it wouldn't hurt for you to do this in addition to.
Okay, so
Right.
what I hear you saying is the mental health, soothing, calm, deep breathing kind of thing. You talk to me about breathing when I'm trying to lift weights. I still don't understand that, but I'm working on it, because we've already established we're work in progress. But so I'm hearing that there's different strokes for different folks, or different
Correct.
modalities like yoga. You're not going to get
Yeah.
rock music in a yoga class,
Right.
or a yoga session, or whatever.
Typically not. I'm sure there's places that have their
places.
own unique niche, but yeah, I mean, you're typically not going to have that in a setting like yoga or meditation, or
So you're not going to do like Viking metal play.
Viking
Death-
metal and a
death
thing.
metal,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Right. But question for you, and this is some places there's just so loud and all that. What is your atmosphere like?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, we're not really a gym. We're more of a studio. And for example, we'll have people that have left places like that for those reasons. They didn't feel comfortable. They didn't like the music, which by the way, my staff's going to hear this. My playlist isn't stellar. Like it's a Bluetooth connect. If you got good music, as long as it's not like super profane and like, terrible. I mean, I'll let clients hook their music up if they want.
Oh, we're going to do Eric Clapton from now
Yeah,
on?
we can, man.
Yeah.
We put a little.
All right, mental
little
note
something on
noted,
there.
John.
Eric Clapton, yeah.
But you find that people
Cream.
they don't go to a gym. Well, let me throw this little statistic out to you. Love my brothers and sisters in the fitness industry, so this is no knocking at major gyms, but Planet Fitness, for example, on average will sign up 75% more than what their fire code will allow every January 1st through 5th.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Because they know by March, those folks aren't coming back. You are a number.
Right. That's why I ask how people
This is
stick
a
with it typically.
Personal. Well, the other thing is the personal connection.
Right. That's the game changer.
Yeah, it's the personal connection, the rapport that we build. If Mrs. Jones hasn't been to our place in 3 days, I'm calling her. Hey, hadn't seen you in a few days. You okay? Everything good? You do that at Planet Fitness, they're drafting $10 out of your account. You're just paying the overhead.
Yeah.
And again, no knock at them. I believe that people that have a good self-efficacy, we love our 24-hour gyms. We want them to go and visit those places, be a part of it when they're not with us. Many clients will just come see us a couple days a week, and they go to those other places. We want them to do that. We want them to commit to the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question, and this is too, is that you work with people. Let's say your bones start to grind together. I've got some mileage on me.
Orthopedic
I
issues.
did, and I did construction, hard construction for about 4 years when I was in college, and things kind of grind together a little bit, even if you do take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And
It's natural, right? Yeah.
it's natural. So do you work with, let's say, folks that might have problems with their hips?
Oh, yeah,
And,
absolutely.
At
man.
70 years old?
Yeah, we've got clients that are 80 plus.
So-
We've got a guy that comes in
Right?
that's 96. 96.
Oh, wow, really?
He's using TRX, doing squats still. It's amazing.
Make sure he's never around me. I don't want to feel bad. That's awesome.
But yeah, well, kind of my background, I worked in physical therapy prior. So when I was working at Caramount Health, I dropped the name there. But I worked a lot in the inpatient rehab. I worked a lot at the Summit where our gym was. All the orthodox, I was the guy they saw when they finished up therapy. I was
Yeah.
doing corrective movements for total hip, total knee replacement. So I want to make it clear, I'm not a physical therapist. I have a background as a PT aide. But I incorporate a lot of that into what we do. I'm also FMS certified, functional movement screen certified. So the whole baseline of what we want to do before we start adding on the big biceps and the aesthetic appeal is we want to get people moving better.
So in other words, let's say somebody my age, I'd like to get more upper body strength, and you could do
Yeah.
that, and I could get a little more defined. that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exercise level appropriate. We're going to throw some corrective movements at you if you need it, some corrective exercise. That's kind of the protocol that we call all of that. But there's a different level for every person.
You know what? It
Yeah.
just occurred to me as a brand new thought. This happens to me in the show all the time. This is a brand new thought, never had it. Is it so to say, we already established, at 50, you find out how you took care of yourself at 30? So, all right, but there's still hope because if you didn't, like me, you find out at 70 how I'm doing now. I'm 52. But is it also true to say you find out at 90 how you took care of yourself at 70?
For many people.
Can we say that?
Yeah. I would say so.
So it's never
Yeah.
too late to
Yeah, it's
get
never
on
too late.
board.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
Yeah, wow. Okay, let's talk about the seminar for a little bit. We have this cool thing that we're going to be doing on June the 21st,
Yeah.
and we were talking that this is not simple. This is crucial. This is a really important time.
And where's it going to happen?
What's that?
Where is it going to happen?
Well, we'll get okay. Well,
Okay,
whatever, Jake.
sorry.
But I'm thinking like, why? Why
Yeah.
do we want to really do this again?
Just this started as a passion project, going back to that, but it's such a big need. It's such a big need. You look at men's health statistics, the cardiovascular disease that's happening, men that are dying in younger ages of heart attacks and strokes, the obesity epidemic. So
And
just
we're speaking specifically probably about the U.S. We're of
Yeah.
course an international
correct.
podcast, so we don't know.
In the United States. In the United States. Then you figure out, okay, why is that happening? Well, my stress is at an all-time high. Or, I'm working these crazy hours, the economic situation. I mean, I'm working 2 jobs. I don't have time to take care of myself because I'm busy trying to take care of everything else.
Time.
Time management, stress, all of that stuff. But we're putting the Avengers together of professionals in our network that have resources and tools to help these guys navigate that.
What do you mean by Avengers? Just so everyone knows.
Well, we all have we're all part of that team.
He's
you know?
Thor.
Yeah, I'm Thor.
Yeah, he is definitely Thor.
I'm Thor, and I'm Thor after Ragnarok. I gotta lose some weight. You know.
Dude, that almost made me sad. I saw Thor after Ragnarok, and what you're referring to is
But-
the god of thunder, became fat and drinking alcohol and depressed and upset. It was really wild.
Well, if you read the mythology, it's accurate because Thor swallowed the ocean, and that's what happened to him.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
So I'm a nerd with that stuff, man. But yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, Thor swallowed the ocean.
I just loved the little sort of mini metaphor there with the
Yeah.
Avengers team.
Yeah.
In that,
Or the A team.
yeah, because I love that from the '80s. But because I feel like this seminar is an opening to a whole experience that I don't want to be too dramatic, but that can be just life-changing because you've
Transformative.
got the major components of life all wrapped up together in one day, one period of time, and you get it all.
Get it all.
right?
Get it all. And the beautiful thing is, it's going to be something that these guys remember and they take away from it. So we've all been to things. You'll go and you learn, like a luncheon. This isn't going to be like that. This is going to be, we're giving these guys real life experience. We're giving them tools. And it's people that we know, and hopefully it's a lot that we don't, that we get that chance to make a lasting impression on them. And they're going to leave that room that night, which, by the way, it's Ray Nathan's Barbecue. If you're not from around this area, it's in Belmont.
It's beast.
Amazing.
Okay, so it's
yeah.
the where is Ray Nathan?
Ray Nathan's Barbecue
Okay.
in Belmont, North Carolina. Amazing food.
What time?
Amazing people. From 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
And how do we register and whatever? Because they just show up at Ray Nathan's. Because
No. We're actually, and I will share this link with you guys. But we're going to have a registration link that's going to go live next week.
next week.
Monday, and we're going to run it all the way up until the day of. So,
Now this is at people that would be in the business or industry, or is this or associated industry, or are they would be clients or patrons?
so
Who's chatting?
Yeah, so
Who's talking?
we actually work with the owners. They've been clients of ours for a long time, and they host events and venues a lot. Men love barbecue. Thought, man, this is a no-brainer. And they're a local business. I want to point that out. I want to support them. They have an amazing menu, and it's their whole area where they do these events is just rooted for fellowship. you know?
I'm feeling the chicken right
You
now.
want the chicken, man? They have amazing food there. They really
Their
do.
brisket, man, and I've been a North Carolina boy my whole life.
Burn ends? Do you have burn ends?
Yeah,
or-
they have it all, man.
My kid used to
Yeah.
work there. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he used to work there, and every now and again he'd bring home some of that. What was the side that I loved? The jalapeno
Cheddar grits.
Cheddar grits.
Oh
baby.
man.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
to
their
die
brisket's amazing.
for. So who's talking is what I thought you were getting at, John. What
Yeah.
what are we
yeah,
going to
yeah.
hear?
Who's talking?
Oh, okay. I'm stuck on food here.
yeah, I know.
But you got me.
Yeah. Sold.
I'm
Never-
I'm
Took us
gonna
there.
be fat
Coming
Thor
for food.
Thor too.
Pastor
I'm the
Dickie-
Hulk.
Yeah, man. So Pastor Dickie Spargo, who is my pastor at City Church in Gastonia, he's going to be our lead pastor there, kicking that off with prayer and fellowship, and just talking about the spiritual element. And people are out looking for purpose. And what I've found too in these one-on-one conversations, whether it be with clients or people coming in for a consultation, is that purpose is actually a void. They're looking for God and their relationship with God.
Yeah.
So we're going to have an aspect of that there. And then, of course, myself and Dr. Scott Jablanca at Immortal Athletics. He is a board-certified physical therapist. He and Dr. Griffin Love, two great guys. Their upcoming business in Cramerton. We're going to tag team the wellness component of that.
So are they both physical therapists?
They are, yeah. They're
Yeah.
doctors of physical therapy. So that's another question: is, hey, man, I've neglected this for the last decade. I'm 40 now. How do I don't just jump back into the game?
No,
right?
it's dangerous,
There's an
right?
appropriate way to do that, and they're going to share some insight on how to do that appropriately. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about nutrition and fueling the body with those natural foods. So we're gonna tackle the wellness component, and of course, Dr. Chris, you're going to be helping us with the mental health aspect.
Hi, Dr. John.
And
Do you get that all the time too? Do people call you a doctor?
Yeah, except you. You don't.
Respect on the credentials, man.
I wish it was
I
PhD.
tell. They call me Dr. John.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even ask that, knowing that you have a doctorate degree. I missed
They
that.
call me
actually.
Doctor. Yeah,
You are a doctor.
Yeah, they
I
call
am
me.
not. Let's be clear.
They call me Dr. P or Dr. John or Doc or
I actually gave
Or
up.
John.
Or Savage.
or John.
Yeah, I used it
Savage.
twice.
Doc Savage.
Doc Savage. I like that.
Yeah, right.
But seriously, I'm going to be addressing some of the mental health component, some
Yeah.
of the fundamental realities of just the psychology and stuff, right?
Right. And then we're going to have a financial expert.
Oh, great.
Yeah, because that's a big one. So I teamed up with the guys at Carolina Asset Management, my friend Jackson Gilbert, one of my great friends, but he's a managing partner there, and he's going to bring in some resources to help guys with the financial
Quick
aspect.
question, and this is something, addiction plays a process addictions, and I'm using old terms, but let's say gambling, even like sexual,
Pornography, things like that, yeah.
All those. So you, Dr. Chris, you probably
You
could-
got to stop that, John.
You gotta, yeah. As long as you don't put it on the end of your title. Yeah, you're okay if I call you Doc.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. I give
Right.
up.
So to address things like that in gambling,
Yeah.
which I'm seeing more and more, and they've made it so much easier to gamble online.
Yeah.
And, and I think that's a big issue. It sounds like love your Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul,
Yeah.
and that's the integration of whole of body. That's what you've got for this seminar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are we looking for? You mentioned this already a little bit, but I think this could be a transformational experience for somebody if they just take a toe, step in the water to check something out. But what are we really wanting them to leave with? How are they really going to get? Yeah.
Cliche thing to say, but that new sense of purpose, right? Like we talked about, the addictions and things like that, and you're going to have guys there that are dealing with all that, For example, you talk about lust and it being a trap, and like this guy's not showing up for his wife, this guy's losing time with his kids, and he's, waiting till everyone goes to sleep and he's watching porn or something like that.
He's not having sexual intimacy
Right.
with his wife because he's engaged in pornography.
Right. So those things, I mean, listen, man, we're not holding back. We're like, hey guys, this is the arena for us to get this out in the open and let's deal with it. The elephant in the room never goes away. You have to kill it. Mm-hmm. And this is your chance to kill your elephant. And you're going to walk out of here tonight more empowered. Like my goal is to go in there. I'm going to hype them up, man. I mean, this is something I'm very passionate about because it's things that men struggle with that there is help. And there's that stigma of not talking about it. Like, we got to be tough. We're not going to talk about this, but you're going to be in a room full of brothers that it's okay to talk about it. And you're going to leave there with friendships.
And I think you have a great voice for people that are in first responders.
Oh, thank you.
Oh boy, that's a big deal.
Yeah, because there is a culture there, and that is just it's silent, but it's there very much. That you don't talk about it because you're going to lose your job if you present yourself as vulnerable, and you start having health problems. And they'll say, "Well, you better shape up," and so they're having to deal with all of that pressure.
Yeah. You know what I hope too is that men will go home and share this experience with their spouse.
Yeah.
Because here's what happens. A man becomes vulnerable. He opens up. It's laughed over. It's not really taken serious.
We make jokes.
He shuts down. You see it all the time. I hear it at least 5 times a day.
Right.
In my clinic, and it's coming out where they feel safe. They feel safe in that grind.
See, I'm looking at Dr. Jake here, and you're working with people that normally wouldn't talk to even Chris or me, though I think we're very relatable, but because of stigma, and you can talk to them, and you're pumping iron, or you're doing these core exercises, and they appreciate that, and you get to them in sort of a backdoor way, and make them more amenable.
Well, listen, John, I think honestly, to play off that, it happens naturally.
Yeah.
When you're working out, when you're exercising, when you're taking in, it opens up avenues to the emotional realm. It just does. I know you're going to agree with me.
Yeah.
But I want to add 2 really important words. First of all, at least because of me. We're going to laugh. We're going to have fun. That's what's going to happen in my section, at least on some level. But we're going to be serious, and you're going to feel empowered, and you're going to feel encouraged. Because, tipping your toe into the water just to check out, what might be out there can be threatening, can be intimidating. But I want you to understand, like, we're going to have fun.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be empowered. You're going to feel encouraged. You're going to be built up. That's my motivation.
That's our goal. That's our goal, is to build these guys up.
Dynamos, you get power. The Greek word dynamo, dynamis. In terms of in Scripture, that's the Greek koine word for power, and so you're going to empower people.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we also quote. Tell me if I'm getting this wrong, but Ephesus, right? He was pushing the boulder up the hill constantly, right? There's a lot of guys doing that.
Oh,
and they can't get past that.
Go a little more with that metaphor real quick, because I don't maybe make sure people hear it.
Like a Ephesus task, people are pushing this boulder up a hill, and they're just ready to give up. Man, that boulder's about to crush them.
Right.
Or they find they're back at the bottom of the hill and they're having to push it up again.
Yeah.
And so it's over and over again. So this goes with the Sisyphus as well.
Sisyphus. So you have to look at it like this Avengers team we have. You might be pushing that boulder, but when you leave today, it's going to get a little easier because you have tools, you have resources.
Leverage.
You have leverage.
You have people cheering you on.
Yeah.
Encouragement,
yeah.
Which men need.
Well, absolutely.
It's frowned upon to say it out loud, right?
If you don't think you don't need encouragement because you're a tough old son of a gun down here in the South, you done lost your mind.
Yeah,
if you're encouraged, you're enheartened.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Well, and I said, my wife's the love of my life, but I tell her all the time, man, I'm a very simple man. I come batteries equipped. I really do. But one thing that really just makes me like go that much harder every day, she shoots me that message via text, just that attaboy,
Oh,
like
yeah.
every man needs that,
Little
regardless
praise.
of age.
Absolutely.
And a lot of men, if you're familiar with love languages, a lot of men appreciate that. It's that.
Oh, a lot.
Words of affirmation.
Well, like you said, it's affirming.
Yeah.
And it'll turn the juice on.
Yeah, it does. You think he's like performing now? Like, throw a little of that at him every week. And I think managers should do it for their workers. So you're gonna have guys in there that are team leaders, managers, business owners. They're gonna leave there like, man, I really need to show more appreciation for the people that I'm responsible for.
So we need to taxi in for a landing a little bit here. And the shrink wrap-up's coming up, Jake. I didn't tell you about it. I'm going to put him on the spot, but he's going to figure that out quickly.
He'll get it.
He'll get it. No, wait a minute. I'm going to comment about that anyway. But just to retouch back on our passion and the power of what it is that you do when you're working with people. That you mentioned, we were talking about the transformations and the things that you have been able to witness. We have shows like My 600-Pound Life, right?
Yeah.
And you see these transformations sometimes, though, in some of those types of shows and experiences. But you're real live in a personal relationship with people. Like, how cool is that, right?
It's awesome to witness. It really is. And again, I started this at 18 years of age.
Yeah.
Started out of a struggle.
That's a vocation.
If you would have told me then that, hey, Jake, God is bestowing upon you an ability to transform lives and impact people, and you're not only going to be trusted with them, but they're going to trust you so much that they're going to want you to help their spouse and their kids as well. I would have never thought that, 16 years ago. But here we are.
Yeah.
This all started because my dad lost his job at Freightliner, man.
Oh, really?
I was on my way to go play ball. I had an opportunity to get on with at the time was a junior college, UNC Pembroke. Bag to bag, pleaded, sent in film, finally got in touch with somebody there. First time since 1945 in 08. 07, 08, they brought a football team back.
Oh.
I was going down to play ball, man. And then long story short, 08, the recession hit, automotive crisis. Dad was one of about 1,700 guys that lost his job. God had other plans.
Wow.
I wound up starting off as a janitor at Caramount Health, worked my way up. Had a passion for working out. I was an athlete. And then one thing led to another. I got certified, went back to school 3 times. Then went back again for business. And man, here, so many things I could tell you in that transformation in my life, but I know what it's done for me and I know what I've been able to do to help other people. And it's a huge part of who I am.
You didn't have an easy way.
No, no, man.
And
Well,
And-
he is dang good at what he does, guys.
Thank
I got to tell you, FitView is the bomb. It's the place to be. What's the phone number? What's the contact? What's
Yeah,
the web again?
980-241-4968. That is our landline. You can also reach us at FitView Wellness. That's all one word, fitviewwellness.com.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's not just a promo. That's a life changer, John.
And you said it's also silver sneakers. So if for
Yeah.
people, Medicare Advantage.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you got silver sneakers and you have HSA account, even we do take HSA, we can provide documentation, all the proper paperwork you need to get that approved.
Silver sneakers start out at 50.
Well,
What's the age level there, John?
I think
I think it's
60.
62.
Yeah, 62.
Oh,
Early retirement age.
Early retirement.
Yeah, early
So,
retirement age.
see, I'm
Yeah.
still considered early retirement. age.
you are, John. You are not even retiring, brother. You're not retiring anytime soon. I don't know if you realize that. But,
No, I'm not.
You're not.
Okay.
All right, we do this thing, Jake, called a shrink wrap up. It's a new thing a little bit, and what we do is we just take a turn, and everyone kind of does a summary, if you will, of
Yeah.
the show. What's the takeaway? What's kind of the main things on your mind? And then we have Mr. Neal over here judge us to see who wins the competition,
Okay.
to make the best point, the clearest point, the most precise, or the most poignant, what have you.
Yeah.
No, it's not necessarily concise. Now, I want to say, John, he doesn't automatically get the dub.
Right.
Okay. This is not an automatic dub for just because he's like a guest and all that kind of stuff. We need to, Neil, you agree, right? You see,
I
on
agree
the-
with that. I agree with
you-
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I love fair competition. man.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
here we go. Where do you want to go, John?
Hey, you had me go last time.
Did I? We're rock paper scissors.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say that because even if I don't get it, but there's some competitive side coming out. Is the best time to begin is now, and you can always improve. And so even if you're 70 like myself, you're going to be in a lot better shape at 80 if you take care of yourself.
We are struggling. We have many issues in our lives. We have a powerful forces against us in all sorts of ways, and I want to focus on really the small steps that you can take that make life-changing transitions in your life, whatever that might be, making the best next decision that you can make, and joining with people such as a personal trainer is an awesome and excellent way to go as a starting block.
Yeah, I think it's a call to action for men. The need has never been greater, but the opportunity also is amazing right now because there are people out there that are skilled, equipped, and available to give you guidance and a pathway to make this better. So I think that the best thing that we can do for ourselves, for our community, and as God led us to do is fellowship, share our gifts. And we have an opportunity to do that June 21st.
Neil, I don't know what you're going to do with this one, brother. This one's going to be hard.
No, it's him.
See, now I have this pressure because I mean, how do you turn down the expert, the one that comes in with all of the baggage? Now, Chris, I think yours was really good. John, yours was fantastic. It is. You have to start now, and Jake, that was fantastic. I mean, honestly, you guys all hit on the head. In the spirit of fellowship, I really think you guys all put everything together. I can't pick a winner.
We're the Trinity.
Okay. Is that the first time that's happened?
That's first.
That
time
is the
it's
first time, brother.
Okay.
I was honestly
All right.
wondering if he was going to do that.
happened.
So there's got to be a triple threat breaker a few months from now.
I'm scared of him.
That's awesome.
It's all in good fun. We really
Yeah.
hope you have a great time and listen to some new things. And listen, it's an important topic. Men and women alike are struggling, but men out there, listen, you got this. We are with you. There are people that can be in a community with you. So we hope you picked up a couple gems. We hope to definitely see you on June the 21st. And check out the links. We'll have all the things there for you to get to. Closing thoughts or comments, gentlemen?
Oh, man. Grateful
right.
to be here, man. It was great to
This
fellowship
is
with you guys.
was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really good. Jake, I really appreciate you stopping by and taking
glad to be
valuable
here.
time to be here.